out who I really was and be kinder to myself. Towards the end of my 20s, I came out of rehab and I had to start my life over. Rehab had offered me a form of protection, but when I left and I was in early recovery, I felt incredibly raw. This was daunting, but it gave me the opportunity to begin my life over completely. And I think that's when I really started learning and equipping myself with the tools I needed to become more fearless. My 30s. At this point in my life, I began to think I could have a proper career, and I realized I had a lot of catching up to do. Of course, I thought everyone was better qualified and felt imposter syndrome, a phrase I particularly don't like, but I believed I had to try. By my mid-30s, I got my first lucky break as a journalist, and my career began to take off. As this happened, I discovered I love learning new things and that any form of knowledge is incredibly powerful in taking away that feeling of fear. I learnt then that if I didn't know about something, I could ask for people's help in order to seek out the information. By talking to people, I rid myself of feeling like a bit of a fraud and that I had a right to be in the room. During my 30s, lots of my friends were having children, but I was fearful about being a mother. I just didn't know if I had it in me, and I didn't know if I'd be any good at it. But I decided I really wanted to try. And then it didn't happen, which made me realize this was something I really wanted, and that it had been fear that had not allowed me to consider it before. I ended up doing quite a few rounds of IVF. 16, in fact. It was a difficult time of hope and loss. I had to find a way to live with the fear that something I wanted so badly might never happen. But I found the tenacity that allowed me to act fearlessly and keep me driving forward. Just shy of 40, my faith paid off and I became a mother. My 40s. I didn't know if it was possible to balance being both a mother and a career woman, but I knew I had to try. I was the main breadwinner, and it was very important for me that I needed to earn the salary to look after the family. I also did enjoy my work, and I was at a stage where my career was building. I was starting to do a lot more TV, but for that I had to commit to travelling and not spending a huge amount of time with Lila when she was very little. And as my 40s progressed, I had to travel further in order to get the work. I think for me, it's really challenging to not feel guilty when you are a working mother. And when I look back, I think it's so important to cherish those moments you're with your child or children, and not, when you're with them, feel guilty about the fact of when you might next leave them. If I had to give advice to somebody getting into that stage, I know I would say, live as much as you can in the moment to give the most to each situation that you are in. My 50s. Just before I turned 50, someone a little older than me told me I was about to go into the most freeing decade. I had more self-assurance by then, and I knew what I wanted. They were right. I did feel more free and comfortable in who I am. Of course, I still feel fear sometimes. That's part of life. But I don't let that stop me in my tracks anymore. I've learned how to live up to my own expectations, and I don't worry about what anyone else thinks. It's very different from not caring what anybody else thinks. And I did change that narrative. Not worrying about what other people think is about the confidence in myself. I have been through times in my life when I've had to let go of something that I didn't fully want to, some relationships, for example. But I knew I couldn't continue in the same situation. The unknown can be full of fear, but so can your current situation. If you're unhappy with where you are, sometimes you have to gather yourself up, take that leap of faith, and believe that there will be a net to catch you. Perhaps I could have learnt some lessons earlier, avoiding some of the pain of my younger years. But would I be where I am today? Maybe not. Thinking too much about the past will keep you stuck there. But I know I learnt from those experiences and mistakes. There have been times in my life when I've had to hit rock bottom.